Dawn is awakening over the Serengeti plains, bathing the space in a brilliant golden ribbon of light. This is one of nature's greatest stages, where each new morning is not just a beginning, but a gift full of chance. In the soft light of a new day, early dew still clings to every blade of grass, sparkling like tiny jewels. Here, we find a Thompson gazelle, a symbol of grace and agility. It is separating from the herd to enjoy the freshest green shoots, completely immersed in its peaceful breakfast. However, this serenity is merely an optical illusion. Hidden deep within the flickering shadows of the bushes, a ghost of the savannah is watching. It is a leopard. Its entire body is a masterpiece of evolution, with a coat pattern that helps it dissolve perfectly into the surrounding landscape. Look at those eyes, amber pools containing absolute focus. There is no hatred, only the cold demands of survival. The leopard holds its breath, every muscle tensing like a steel spring. Then, a tiny twig snaps under the foot of the gazelle, the smallest but most decisive mistake. The silence is instantly torn apart. The leopard lunges out like a streaked phantom, transforming potential into a terrifying source of kinetic energy. The race for life and death officially begins. The moment the silhouette of the predator appears, the Thompson gazelle does not fall into a state of paralysis from fear. Instead, a miraculous biological mechanism is triggered. It begins to perform the behavior that naturalists call starting high, vertical leaps with all four legs stiff. In our eyes, it may seem like a strange display, but to the leopard, it is a clear message. I am in my prime. Do not waste your energy on me. However, this leopard has gone too far to turn back. It has chosen its target, and it will not give up. The chase now becomes a classic demonstration of physics and anatomy. The leopard, an explosive athlete, is capable of accelerating to nearly 100 kilometers per hour in just a few seconds. Its strides are incredibly long, its body stretching and then contracting like a flexible silk band. Savanna dust is kicked up, creating a hazy mist that obscures even their footsteps. But the Thompson gazelle possesses another weapon, unparalleled flexibility. Knowing that it cannot outrun the predator in a straight line forever, the gazelle begins to deploy escape tactics. It performs sharp 90-degree turns at maximum speed, an ability allowed by its special ankle bone structure. Every time the leopard thinks it can touch its claws to the prey's hip, the gazelle pivots suddenly, causing the predator to miss its stride due to its own massive inertia. The leopard must use its long tail as a biological rudder to maintain balance, trying to stay close to every tiny movement of the opponent. The heart rate of the gazelle has now soared to the extreme limit, its lungs filled with the searing hot air of the Serengeti. This is no longer an ordinary race. It is a contest of wills. The leopard, though powerful, has a weakness in endurance. It needs to end this hunt quickly before its body overheats. Conversely, the gazelle is betting everything on its stamina. The terrain begins to change. The flat ground gives way to uneven areas and thorn bushes. The gazelle intentionally leads the enemy into the most difficult sections, hoping that a small slip by the leopard will be its ticket to life. The distance between them shrinks and expands like a gasping breath. Every step, every jump carries the weight of destiny. The vast savanna suddenly narrows down, becoming only a struggle between two living beings, where the smallest mistake will lead to an irreversible conclusion. The terrain suddenly changes cruelly. The flat grass behind is now cut off by a steep cliff, standing tall beside the majestic Mara River. The Thompson gazelle, in the panic of flight, has accidentally led itself into a natural dead end. Behind is the tireless predator, and ahead, dozens of meters below, is the muddy water swirling. This is the moment when courage and survival instinct are pushed to the absolute limit. The gazelle is forced to slow down, but it does not stop. It begins to move on a narrow, rocky ledge, jagged with unstable limestone slabs. Listen to the sound of small pebbles falling into the depths, their echoes lost in the roar of the water below, creating a tense soundtrack for life. Every step of the gazelle now must be precise to the millimeter. Just one slight slip and everything will end immediately. Right behind, the leopard has also caught up. Although these big cats are masters of climbing, the body weight and inertia from the chase make it cautious as well. It crouches down, the rippling muscles under its patterned skin tensing, preparing for the decisive pounce. In this breathtaking moment of silence, time seems to freeze. Two creatures stand facing each other at a distance where they can feel each other's hot breath. The gazelle turns its head back, its dark eyes full of terror, but also containing a phenomenal determination. It looks into the cold amber eyes of the leopard, a piercing gaze between hunter and prey. The leopard flings itself forward, a pounce carrying the power of millions of years of evolution. Its claws spread out, only centimeters away from the fur of the gazelle. But at that very hair's breadth moment, the gazelle makes an unthinkable choice. Instead of letting itself be torn apart on the ledge, it gathers all its strength, pushes off with its hind legs, and performs an extraordinary leap. It is a long, beautiful, and reckless arc in midair. The gazelle launches itself into the void, leaving the solid ground to entrust its fate to gravity. It flies over the abyss, a small figure in total contrast to the majesty and cruelty of the stone canyon. The leopard stops dead at the very edge, its claws scraping against dry rock, creating small sparks and dust. It stands there, watching the prey that chose death in the water rather than submitting to its fangs. A leap of faith, or rather, a dangerous new chapter in the survival journey of the gazelle, begins as it falls straight down into the fierce mire. The fall from the cliff causes the Thompson gazelle to sink deep into the muddy water, but the fierce survival instinct pushes it to the surface immediately. The Mara River is not a static lake. It is a surging living entity, full of whirlpools and swift currents that can drown any creature. The gazelle, now with soaked and heavy fur, begins a new battle. It must use all its strength to paddle its four legs, trying to keep its small nose always above the water to breathe the precious air. But the fierce water is not the only hazard here. The disturbance on the water surface has sent vibration signals to the oldest residents of this river, the Nile crocodiles. These armored monsters have existed almost unchanged since the age of dinosaurs, and they are masters of ambush. From afar, we can see small V-shaped ripples quietly approaching. There is no sound to warn, only cold eyes and rugged noses protruding from the water like floating logs. At this moment, an unprecedented sight is unfolding, a three-way race between life and death. On top of the high cliff, the leopard stands still like a statue, its gaze never leaving the struggling prey below. It is an outsider to the game, but still full of regret. Under the river, the gazelle is swimming desperately toward the opposite bank. And right behind it, huge dark shadows are closing the gap alarmingly. Every second that passes is a time the gazelle must face death. A large crocodile suddenly lashes its tail, rushing forward with incredible speed. In that moment, the gazelle seems to feel the pressure of the water being pushed by the underwater predator. It makes a final effort, using its remaining strength to lunge forward. The Mara River is famous for the bloody crossings of wildebeests, and today, it witnesses a smaller individual challenging every limit of destiny. The gazelle is not only fighting crocodiles, but also fighting its own exhaustion. The muscle blocks once meant for running on the savannah are now cramping from the cold and the overexertion underwater. The opposite bank begins to appear more clearly, but the saw-like jaws of the crocodiles are only a few meters from its heels. The drama reaches its peak when a crocodile lunges up, snapping at the empty space right where the gazelle just glided past. It is a boundary so thin that a single breath could change the outcome. The life of the gazelle now rests entirely on whether its tired muscles can carry it to solid ground before the underwater predators make the final snap. In a moment that seemed like the end of its strength, the hooves of the Thompson gazelle finally touched the thick mud on the opposite riverbank. With one last desperate effort, It lunges out of the water just as the jaws of the last crocodile snap shut behind it, creating a dry and haunting thud. The gazelle staggers onto the shore, its wet fur making its body look smaller and more fragile than ever. It stands there, legs trembling with exhaustion, its heavy breathing forming misty clouds in the early air. It has survived. It has overcome challenges that even the strongest would fear. On the other side of the river, atop the towering cliff, the leopard still stands there. It does not growl in anger, nor does it show the disappointment of a loser. Instead, it stands quietly, a majestic silhouette against the brightening sky. There's a quiet respect spreading between these two entities. In the natural world, there's no concept of bad or good, only individuals trying their best to fulfill the roles that nature has bestowed. The leopard looks down at the prey that escaped its fangs, as if to acknowledge a great will to survive. A moment of absolute silence in the wilderness, where life and death have just intersected in the most violent way. This chase story is not just a display of speed and strength, but also a testament to the incredible hidden abilities of animals. We often know the leopard for its explosive speed and supreme hunting skills, but we also cannot help but bow before the stamina and extraordinary balance of the Thompson gazelle, especially its swimming ability and the decision to jump into the fierce water overturned all predictions. For small herbivores, water is often the last shield, a thin but life-saving boundary when all exits on land are blocked. The Mara River, with its ancient Nile crocodiles and swift currents, is the symbol of the harsh but fair Serengeti ecosystem. Here, life and death are only a breath, a jump, or a split-second decision apart. Nature does not favor anyone. It only grants opportunities to those who know how to fight until the last breath. The gazelle gradually disappears into the savanna mist to find its way back to the herd, carrying the scars of a memorable day. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey into the heart of the wild. If the stories of the survival and power of all species touch your heart, please press subscribe so we can explore more wonders of this green planet together. The natural world still has many untold stories, and I look forward to seeing you in the next films. Goodbye, and always keep an open soul to the beauty of the wild world.